The emotional scars of loneliness, abandonment, rejection, and the yearning for a father's love is noticeable, felt and manifest in the voices of boys and adolescents lacking a father figure.
He was also not typically present with me.
The voices of boys and adolescents carry an undertone of sadness, neglect and longing. Their words echo confusion, anger, a desperate search for validation and belonging. The absence of father figures in the lives of boys and adolescents is a pressing issue, not only in Namibia but globally, contributing to a cycle of trauma and emotional distress. This situation presents numerous challenges that affect not just individual families, but entire communities.
So I never had a father to be there for me to say, no, my son, you're turning into a boy, man, or anything.
These three young men are remarkable. They are just a few of the hundreds who are neglected by their fathers, highlighting the common absence of fathers across the globe. Charlene is one of the young men facing the dilemma of his father's absence. He emotionally describes the trauma he is experiencing as a result of not having a father in his life.
If I have to go into depth, I experienced a lot of trauma as a male. I wasn't toughened enough. I wasn't given more tough love. I don't know much about a men's love towards me. Yeah, especially like a father figure. Let me say a father figure towards me. I've learned to experience it on my own, whereby I would have my friends. I would have friends. I would have older guys as my friends or as big brothers. So they would be the ones giving a toughness.
With deep sorrow in his voice, Charlene narrated how the absence of his father has affected him mentally and emotionally, resulting in mood swings that have also impacted those around him.
My father wasn't in my life mostly. Somehow we're still in contact, but I don't call him my father because I don't feel like he deserves the role of being called the father within my life, because he wasn't a father nor a dad in my life. For a time being, yes, he was, but he disappeared without any notice, without saying anything. All of a sudden, he came back, not physically in my life, but just here and there through texts, not even calls. But yeah, it hurt me at most. But seeing other kids with their dads, seeing how they spend time with their dads, oh, it affected me negatively, and especially the people that I was living around with and the people that cared for me. Because I tended to be moody, like I had a lot of I had a lot of mood swings. Yeah. So here and there, I would switch up my moods very quick, and it wasn't okay. And I would stay very quiet. I would neglect. I would run away. Just I would do things to myself and also towards other people that are not nice.
Often these feelings become a shadow that follows the boys and haunt their daily experience, and influencing their self-esteem, relationships as well as their overall mental health. Michael is not an exception among the other boys and adolescents who are trapped in their own minds, grappling with many unanswered questions about their absent fathers.
I basically just grew up in a normal household with both parents being present, but on the other hand, even though my dad was present, he was also not typically present with me, as we're not so good. Not to say we're not good, we just don't communicate as people, normal child and father do. Mostly he goes out to sea, comes back like after a month or so, and then I spends like a few weeks, and during those weeks mostly just drinks, comes back late at night or the next day, so it's not really much time we have, and it goes back like after 2 or 1 week, so not really much time. But basically my mom and my uncles were there, raised me up into the person I am now.
Most men father children and then disappear, leaving mothers to shoulder the burden of raising their children alone. This abandonment creates a profound sense of loss in boys who yearn for their father's guidance, love, and support.
I would like to tell the start of the absent fathers, be more aware, take account of what you did. Don't just impregnate the lady also and just disappear. Stick to your child at least. If you don't like the lady, at least stick to your child, communicate more. In society mostly just is mostly fixated on the girl child, and I'm not trying to say that they're being sexist or something, but pay more attention to what the boy child needs or is feeling.
Boys who lose their fathers to death also face a unique form of trauma, grappling with grief and absence that can shape their emotional development profoundly. Such loss can lead to feelings of instability and uncertainty, worsening the challenges they face in forging their identities as young men. Patrick's story may differ from that of other boys and adolescents neglected by their fathers. However, he endures the same loneliness and yearning for a father's love, as he also lacks a present father in his life. Patrick's father passed away when he was just 1 year old, and he has no memories of the time they shared together.
I was raised in the northern part of Namibia, in Angona region, in a small village called Matangela. Well, I remember my dad died when I was just 1, and at the time we used to live in Walvis Bay. And of course, and yeah, they were married with my mother. And that time, I think women were regarded as housewives. So at the time, my mother did not have a job. So it's only my father that used to work. And then after his death, my mother could not afford the rent, the house fees and all. So she moved to the northern part of Namibia also, where I was with my grandmother and my sister. She came back to Walvis Bay. So it was kind of difficult for me growing up without a father, having cousins that have been visited by their fathers and mothers anytime they want in their cars. Although I never showed it, of course, I'm not the type of person to show it to so that no, I'm not okay about that. I hit them up, of course. My grandmother was there for me. She showed me love. She showed me, she was there for me.
Patrick appreciates the love that his mother and grandmother shower upon him. However, there remains a missing piece in his life, which is his father's guidance.
So I never had a father to be there for me to say, no, my son, you're turning into a boy, man, or anything. So you have to control emotions or you have to toughen up. No, I was never taught that. So my grandmother was just there to pamper me and to do everything for me. And I think that also softened me somehow. Because she never taught me how to handle problems in the real world. That one day you grow up and this is what you will face, and this and this. No, all I did was cry when I was hurt or anything, but I never said anything, and I never did or stood up for myself. So although I just thank my grandmother, I hope she'll be there the day I succeed, because that woman really did something. She means something to me, you know. So I'm just hopeful.
Many initiatives have focused on supporting girls, aiming to address issues like education, health, and safety. However, the challenges faced by boys are often overlooked. Perhaps this is due to the societal perception that boys should be naturally strong and self-sufficient. In the midst of loneliness experienced by boys and young men without a father figure, a hero emerges. A loving and dedicated soul who offers her shoulder for them to lean on. Angels do not always wear white and have wings. Sometimes, they take the form of a passionate advocate like Madame Muriel. She champions equal opportunities and believes that the boy child matters too. As the founder of the non-profit organization The Blue Project, she recognizes the struggles faced by boys with absent fathers and is committed to bridging the painful gap left in their lives. The organization's mission is to nurture boys and young men into men of substance. In 2021, Madame Muriel founded the Blue Project non-profit organization during her own struggle to raise her son as a single mother when the father was not present in their lives. She faced challenges particularly as her son entered his teenage years. Despite seeking help, her efforts were not really fruitful, which ultimately inspired her to found the organization.
An entire generation took time to equip and empower young women, our girls and young women. However, nobody took the time to empower and equip our boys and young men on how to handle or be with these empowered young women. So I feel the boy child, the adolescent boy, the young man has completely been left out, completely neglected, gravely neglected for that matter, in this entire process. We are trying to fight gender-based violence, domestic violence, SGBV, femicide. I mean, the statistics speak for themselves in Namibia. The male suicide rate is the highest in Namibia. Our incarceration rates are so high amongst young men. And I'm talking about between the ages of 20 and 35. So our school dropout rates, there is a research that was done by Dr. Kudumo and his colleagues regarding the undereducation of males. School dropout rates amongst boys is the highest in Namibia.
Advocate Muriel, who was born to activist parents, is working tirelessly to nurture and groom boys and young men who lack a father figure as a role model. The young men who lack father figures in their lives praise the Blue Project for being a shoulder to lean on and for guiding them along the right path to manhood.
I joined the Blue Project in 2023 when I have friends that are always talking about it at school, break time, anything. So one day they were having a conference in a local church, so I decided to follow them. From there, I picked up points that I really liked. So I got the application form from Madam Tangeni Muyoro, of course, the founder of Blue Project. So from there, I started joining. I started attending lessons and everything. So it really improved. It improved me. It improved my academic performance.
I joined because I really wanna fix myself as a human being and as a man in my society and for myself as well.
Basically, it changed my life for the better, because if I had to compare my life before the project and after, I am basically more, let's say I communicate more. Even though I don't communicate as much, I basically just talk to more people, because before the project I was mainly just a shut in. I To tell the truth, I did not like people. So the project, I learned morals and values and principles that I just applied.
It is clearly evident that absent fathers are causing psychological trauma in the innocent souls of boys. This emotional trauma can create feelings of hate, which may ultimately result in manifestations of violence, such as crime, substance abuse, and gender-based violence. The so-called hit-and-run trend is particularly harmful to children who suffer in the aftermath of conflicts between couples who once loved each other. When some men break up with their wives or girlfriends, they often cut ties with their children as well, which should not be the case.
Be present in your boy's life. Be present in his life, because he, as much as you as the father know the world is tough out there, you can't just leave your boy like that, because we as men we know that we are alone, we're not gonna be saved, but we're actually there for one another. As men, we're actually there for one another, and you cannot leave your boy, especially your own blood, your own son, stranded out there. So if we have to stop the standing of no one is going to save us, I'm alone, let's stop it by being there for our sons, being there for our boys, being actually there in their lives, opening up, grooming them, giving them tough love, showing them the toughness of the world and of how to handle it.
You do not expect a woman to be protected if you do not first tell the male to protect that person. So you need to start with the roots, of course. You need to start with the roots. You need to talk with a man so you don't abuse your wife, don't abuse a woman in these terms and this, because that woman she's not a slave. She's a person like you. The same way you do not expect somebody to do that to you. Just talk with a boy child. Talk with a boy child to grow up with a value, to grow up with an understanding that I cannot abuse somebody's child. If you want the woman to be protected, first start with a male.
Despite a lack of funds, the founder of the Blue Project is dedicated to bridging the gap between boys who lack paternal love and male role models, and fathers who are either less involved or have passed away, with the goal of reducing feelings of loneliness.
Namibia is predominantly single mother-led households, then that means there are other women in my similar situation, and with that we basically opened up the Blue Project. All I'm doing is literally just coordinating the processes, the administrative processes, in order to get these events going. We would then ask different men within the community that would then be able to come and talk on a particular topic. So what we now eventually 3 years later we call it our behavioral change sessions that we have, and in this they are being groomed, they are mentored, they are being workshopped, and we kept it, and till now we still keep it very strictly males, so that most of these young men coming out of households where either the father figures are not really much involved in their upbringing, and where there are no fathers, they are then able to help hear a different voice, especially that male voice, in order for them to be assisted with their behavioral change.
Unlike their own fathers, these brave young men send a direct message to their dads. They do not want history to repeat itself. Instead, they aspire to be present fathers in the future when they have children of their own.
I would say it's nice seeing in person, and I thank you, because I actually turned out to be a great person towards our family, friends, society itself. So So yeah, I would say thank you because I I feel much, but I feel actually that I'm a man now. I I grew into to be a man without him. So I would say I'm grateful. Thank you for as well being there. And I know that I will be, if I would have kids, I would be a better father than you ever with him.
I would like to tell him to be more present, be more aware of your family instead of just going out partying whatever. Be more communicative with everyone and not be distant as you are.
Despite his father not being alive, he expressed his gratitude, hoping that in spirit, his father can hear him and feel proud of the man he has become.
I know for sure be proud of me because I failed and I stood down. And I know if you're here, you would have said, you are turning into a man. You are now a man. Of course, I am. I even grow a beard. I just hope, I wish you were there to see the beard. Of course. I'm just waiting for my results on the 14th of January. I just hope they are good. So I start a new chapter, of course, for my university life. And I know you'll be proud of me, Faye, of course. Everything I do.
Your support matters. You can partner with the Blue Project by becoming a facilitator or by making in-kind donations to make a difference in the lives of boys and young men. All donations and sponsorships are directed towards supporting the Blue Project activities. As the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. When raising a boy, it requires collective efforts to ensure he is guided in the right direction, fostering communities free from violence, and minimizing harmful behaviors among our young men. Telling the Untold Stories film production is calling out to anyone who wants to share their remarkable story. Whether it's a tale of triumph over adversity, a journey of self-discovery, or a story of hope and inspiration, we want to hear it. By sharing your story with us, you'll have the opportunity to inspire others and leave a lasting impact on those who need it most. So if you're ready to share your untold story, don't hesitate to reach out to Telling the Untold Stories film production today. Contact us at onepackle@yahoo.com or 0813025688.